so much. It's now been 2.5 weeks that you've been home. You've been doing schoolwork at home. You've been doing church at home. You've been doing sports at home probably and everything at home. Have you hit the board wall yet? Well, I have some exciting news. This Sunday is the start of Holy Week. Do you know what Holy Week is all about? Well, in case you don't, I'm going to tell you all about it tonight. Are you ready to jump in? Good. All right. So let's first begin by defining the word holy. What does the word holy mean? Holy means set apart for God. Let me give you an example. I have here 20 space bucks. For those of you that don't know what these are what we use on our Shine Wednesday night program to reward our kids for their homework, bringing their Bibles, learning their verses. So I have 20 space bucks here in fives. 5, 10, 15, 20. I'm going to set apart 5 out of the 20 to give to my church. So I'm going to grab an envelope and put it in here, and I'm going to set it apart. Those 5 space bucks are now holy because they are set apart for God and his purposes. So let's go back to Holy Week then. A Holy Week is a week that we set apart to remember what Jesus did and experienced on his last week here on earth. Okay? So let's start with Palm Sunday. Do you remember what Palm Sunday is all about? That's right. We remember Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem. And we say it was triumphal because the people hailed him as king. Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a colt or a donkey. Let me go get mine. Here's my faithful donkey. So he rode in, and when he was riding in, the people were waving palm branches, and they were all excited and celebrating, and they were throwing their cloaks on the floor, and they were also taking branches from the trees and waving them. I don't have any palm branches, but I do have streamers. And they were saying, Jesus! They were saying, blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. And they waved their palm branches and watched him ride in. You guys can read more about this story in Luke chapter 19. I don't want to give it away all today because on Sunday I'm going to share more about that story. So be sure to tune into our live stream, okay? All right. So that's Palm Sunday. Then we go into Holy Monday and Holy Tuesday. We don't usually hear much about these days. So what do? Holy Monday and Holy Tuesday, what do we remember? We remember and think about the story of Jesus cleansing the temple. He comes in and he overturns the table. He's upset because they're using the temple, the place where people would gather to worship, to sell and animals and exchange money, and they weren't being very honest about it. So Jesus cleaned out the house. So we can think about that story. We also think about Jesus cursing the fig tree. Why would he curse the fig tree? I guess we need to read about it. Luke chapter 19, 20, and 21. You'll find those stories in there, okay? So that's Holy Monday and Holy Tuesday. So now we're moving on to Holy Wednesday. What do we remember and think about on Holy Wednesday? This is the day we think about Judas's betrayal of Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. I have 30 pieces of gold coins. Let's just pretend they're silver. Okay, so Judas betrayed Jesus. Betray means to turn your back on someone for someone else or something else. Kind of like this. Let me give you an example. I have a potato head family over here. Papa potato head, Mama potato head. A little closer so you can see them. Yeah, I don't know where his arm went. And Mama potato head She's all here. And baby Potato Head. Yeah, he's kind of like his dad. He's also missing an arm. All right, so someone comes to baby Potato Head and they tell him, we'll give you $1 million if you give up one of your parents. And so he says, sure. And he gets the cash. Ching, 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 ching. And these other people, whoever they may be, they whisk the mama away. And he gets the thing that he wanted, but he betrayed his family. He betrayed his mom. He turned his back on her. That's what Judas did to Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. Would you do that? Would you betray your close friend, your family? I sure hope not. All right, let's move on to Thursday. Maundy Thursday. Maundy Thursday comes from the Latin word mandatum. Say mandatum with me. Mandatum. That means commandment or order. So it was on this day that Jesus had his last meal with his disciples, and this was the day that he washed his disciples' feet. And as he was doing all of this, he gave them a very important commandment found in John chapter 13, and I'm going to read it to you from the Bible. John chapter 13, verse 34. A new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. So, how well have you been loving others today and this week and these past 2.5 weeks? Think about that as we move on to Good Friday. Good Friday is the day we remember Jesus' death on the cross for us. You may be wondering, well, why is it called Good Friday, Miss Lorena, if Jesus died? I'm glad you asked. That's a really good question. Romans 3:23 says that because we've all sinned, we all fall short of the glory of God. What that means is that because we've all done bad and we all have evil in our hearts, we don't reach God's standard of us. We may try and do many things and jump up and try to be perfect and good like God on our own, but we won't make it on our own. And so because of our sin, we are separated from God and we can't have a friendship with God. Romans 6:23 says, for the payment of sin is death. Death is separation from God forever, for all of eternity. And that, my friends, that's bad news. But there is good news. The good news is that because God so loved us, he sent his one and only son, Jesus, to die for you and for me and for all of us. See, what Jesus did on the cross was that he took away my sin and he put it on himself, and he took the punishment that I deserved from God. He took it upon himself. And that's how Jesus rescued us from sin and rescued us from life apart from him. He rescued us from death. That's why it's Good Friday. So for those that turn to Jesus and turn away from their bad sin or from their bad ways, they are not punished. They are forgiven. They become friends with God. Friends. This is the sign language. I'm glad I remembered that. They become friends with God. So, hold the thought for a minute. Jesus died, and then he was buried. And then comes Holy Saturday. That's the day we remember Jesus' death, that he's death. We remember how he died on Friday, and then Saturday, it's like kind of a sad day because we're thinking about how he's not here and what would it have been without Jesus for us. So we ponder that on Holy Saturday. But we also wait excitedly for Easter Sunday. On Easter Sunday, Jesus conquered death and rose from the dead. That's right. You know why? Because he's stronger than death. He's got more power. He's the most powerful being in the multiverse. Yes. So, this is the biggest celebration of the entire week. And because you do realize that if Jesus hadn't come back to life, we wouldn't have been forgiven. But he did. And he not only forgave us, but he made us his friends. And he not only made us his friends, he gave us new life forever. And he made us part of his family. So he calls us, those who trust in Jesus, he calls us his children, his sons, and his daughters. So, wow, what a day, Easter Sunday. That's why it's a big celebration. That's why we put on new clothes and we celebrate and we, go to the park and we eat good food and then we celebrate with confetti. Yee-hoo! Because we've been given a new life. And it's just the most amazing thing anyone could have ever done for us. We're so glad Jesus rose from the dead. Otherwise, we would have been toast. But thank goodness that he's alive. He is risen. And then when someone tells you he is risen, you respond, he is risen indeed. Let's try that. He is risen. Very good, guys. So, now wait a minute. You, my friend, on the other side of the screen, have you chosen to turn away from your sin and turn to Jesus and trust him as your rescuer and as your master? Because we may go to church all of our lives, but if we haven't chosen to follow Jesus as rescuer and master, we're missing out. He wants to be your friend forever. He wants to have a friendship with you. So, if you're feeling and you're thinking right now that you want to follow Jesus as your rescuer and master, I want you to pray this prayer with me. Dear Jesus, I know that I am a sinner. I'm sorry for all the bad things I have done. I believe you died for my sins and rose from the dead. I choose to trust and follow you as my master and rescuer. In your name, amen. Now, if you prayed this prayer, talk to your parents. Let me know too. Send me an email. I'd love to hear more about you and now your new friendship with Jesus. Well, kids, we did it. We walked through Holy Week. It was awesome to share with you guys today. I had so much fun. Parents, and you kids too, I want you to know that there's a wonderful Holy Week activity pack. In this packet, which is on our website, you can find activities for you and your family to do every day of Holy Week. Some of you may have already started on one. The first one is the making of the palm branch, and we've asked our church family to make palm branches and take 20-second footage of themselves and send it to us so we can put that together for our online service this Sunday. And also for Maundy Thursday, the ideas that are in here are going to be incorporated into do-it-yourself Maundy gathering that we're sending out to all of our church family. So you guys can combine, the two resources here and use whatever you like, but lots of fun things to do here with your family. All right, everyone, it was great to connect with you guys today. I'm praying for you, and I hope to connect with you soon next week.